dad is hard. It's high stakes. It takes a toll on our self-worth, mental health, and can be lonely. But why would we ever want to do something so important in isolation? Legacy Makers, a conversation for dads, is quite simply two normal dads having conversations about, you guessed it, being a dad. The highs, the lows, and the learnings along the way. We are four dads. We want to remedy the deficiency we see in community for dads, and we want to ruthlessly encourage dads on their journey to build lasting legacy for the faces they love the most.
It's almost the end of the year. This is crazy, isn't it?
I cannot believe, for a lot of reasons. But yeah, first year, we're wrapping up our first year of Legacy Makers, a conversation for dads, getting ready to take a couple weeks and just take a breath. Hopefully you and the fam are going to be able to kind of disconnect for a little bit over the holidays.
It is going to be nothing but chaos, but it's going to be so much fun. I love Christmas time with little kids.
Oh,
I think it's so much fun. It is crazy. Since we've started, every single one of my kids has had a birthday. So they're all a year older since we've started. Have y'all had all your birthdays yet? We think we started in March.
No, the girls had just turned 4.
Okay.
And so I missed Benny and the girls. So 3 of my 4 haven't had a birthday, but they just turned. It's just crazy to turn the page on another year though too. And I don't know about you, but you have these good intentions to open up a conversation for dads, start this wonderful community, and then being a dad becomes harder and harder, and you feel even more convicted to do the right thing because you're like, look, like I have a podcast that 5 people listen to about being a dad. It's like, I have to be a better dad. So I'm like, okay, this is a good season to start a podcast for sure, just personally.
It does increase the accountability. So, okay, in just a couple of days, I'm going to gather. One of my friends has a birthday in December, and he gets a group of guys together every year. And he's just a super intentional guy, a really good dad. But he asked people to come and answer this question. And it was a question that Ralph Waldo Emerson used to ask his friends every time they gather. Deep questions from Ralph Waldo Emerson here. The question was this: what has become clear to you since we last met? So when they're getting together, he's saying, what has changed? What has become clear? And to me, that challenged me to reflect on this podcast so far. What has become clear? Maybe what's become more clear? What have we become more convicted about since we started this podcast? So I'd love for those of you that listen the whole time or you haven't listened at all, this will be a good recap for you. What in the last 9+ months have you taken away? Why don't you start with one?
Yeah, I think about some topics we hit on, right? Not just like, okay, this is the title of this episode, but that just seem to feel like they come up in conversation. I think the first thing is just the importance of doing your very, very best. Like we talk about effort a lot. This quote that you and I have said multiple times, I've never met a bad dad who's trying to be great, I think is a beautiful backdrop for how we should all approach being dads. Because fundamentally to me, what that means is you're striving. You're not perfect, but if it's on your mind, if you are trying to be great, that means you're being intentional. That means you want to be better. And yeah, are you going to be perfect? Absolutely not. That's not the goal. I think excellence is the goal. I think leaving it all out in this time that we have on the field, the figurative field as a dad. And I think if your approach is that, hey, look, I can't be a bad dad if I'm trying to be great, it also pulls any guilt away from us if we stumble or if we don't show up the way we want to show up. And so if you haven't listened at all, or if you're kind of thinking about, hey, it's been a good conversation, I've got like, that's for me, one of the number one things for any dad to take away is, and just try to be great. And you're going to be so much further than you ever could have been. Right. I mean, you read all the books, do all things, just try to be great.
Yeah. It's that simultaneously emphasizes the effort and intentionality with also taking us off the hook a little bit that, you know, the time you yelled at your kids yesterday is not the end of the world. The trip that you had to go on or the thing you missed doesn't define who you are as a dad. What defines you is the consistency over time, just trying to do that. So I think that's been one of my takeaways too. Yeah.
Well, the other thing I just add before I want to hear from you too. So I'll give you a second as I talk to make sure you're ready. I think it also models what ultimately all of us want in our kids. It doesn't matter where you grow up. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter. Take everything off. I think a commonality for all dads is you want your kids to go hard, give it their best effort. And so this whole notion of exactly what we're talking about, I think that also models that behavior for our children.
Yeah.
So what about you? So what sticks out? What are some of the things we've hit on that you feel like, hey, look, this has been either eye-opening or reinforcing?
Well, one of the topics we hit on, I think you called it zoom in. When you first shared that, I wasn't sure where you were going with it, but you had given us these really depressing statistics
Mhm.
about the state of the country and being a dad, all these things. And then you challenged us to not like we're not going to solve the problems of the world at this big scale. We're going to solve them by starting with our own family. And that was a to me, I think a really good reminder. And that was right around the time we had those guys on from RO, Joey and Heath, which is still like the most convicting conversation maybe we had all year.
Agree.
Because I think starting with your family starts with some of those little things. And one of them is putting your phone down and being present. So maybe the thing, I think community and being present were the two things I heard a lot this year, but being present as a dad may be maybe the one that I'm taking away the most.
Yeah. So, you and I typically how we prepare for these is we just come in and talk, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like so given we didn't prepare for this, I'm going to put you on the spot and you might have said it. If you said to a guy or a mom that would want to listen to this, you said one episode, what conversation would you point them to? You don't have to say the episode number, whatever, just do it. But like which one?
Oh, I may have them listen to the interview with Joey and Heath, the RO episode. Now, I'm not telling them it's going to be the most encouraging episode, uh, but it's the piece that shapes my thoughts about being a dad the most. It's also the part that I feel the worst about.
Yep.
Just being real, because most of the time I feel like we're trying to end with encouragement, but I go back and I listen to that episode and I think, man, I'm slipping back into my old habits really quickly.
I think you're spot on. That is the one I send to more people than all the other ones. And I think it's exactly that. It's actually the one that I think about the most.
Yeah.
Even last night, we were in bed. We put the girls to bed. The boys had got back from practice, and I had my phone, and I remembered, okay, just put it on but like it's on my mind, which means it's important. So I think that's a good one. I forget the title of that, but it's something about the RO box, ARO. If you're looking through the history, it's just a fantastic conversation we had with the founders of this technology that really they have a heart for trying to help better manage devices for families to kind of have more intentional time. Yeah, that's probably what I would say. But I think it was the second episode we had that really went into the importance of community.
Yeah.
And we've talked about community throughout. So you can really pick it up probably in any of the episodes. But that one we went deep into the why and shared some of the things that, you and I had gone through. Listen, as you close this year out, if you're listening to this, whether you feel like you've got the best friends in the world and you're surrounded, or you feel on the other end of that, I just encourage you to go at it and continue to try to build that. If you are fortunate enough to have a group around you that's lifting you up and striving for the next thing, lean into that. Don't take that for granted. Find time to be together in person and continue to forge that. I love that you've got this group of guys that gets together and has this intentional conversation at the end of the year. But don't just assume that's always going to be. And if you're on the other end of that where you don't have it, then make that part of 2025. Slowly build that. Be that for somebody else. But I'm telling you, life is hard. It's not going to get any easier, but it's so much better when you've got people around you that have your back. And so go back and listen to that episode on community, but make that a part of your 2025 plans for sure.
One of our episodes, I think, was called Just Start.
Mm.
And all of these topics we're hitting on right now, I think can be encompassed as you get to the end of the year, like just start them. Just start trying to build the community. Start trying to be intentional. You may not get all the things right with your phone, but just start on it. Creating moments.
Yeah.
All of those things, you've just got to start. And, the end of the year is also the time we start thinking about New Year's resolutions for the next year.
Yeah.
Which sometimes can become a laundry list as a dad. Like man, I've blown it now, but I'm going to do this, 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 and this. I think a theme that we've had throughout the year is to not just focus on what we're doing, but why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like reminding ourselves about this legacy, about the fact that we get one shot, and just wanting to be better at what we do.
Yeah. So as you think to 2025, tell me, putting you on the spot, Is there something you're thinking about going into the year from the standpoint of being a dad?
That's a good question. I don't know that I'm thinking a lot about what topics we need to cover next year so that we can
Yeah.
get better.
Yeah.
Because as we looked back and we just said the Joey and Heath and the RO episode, and we talk about when Mike Lynch was on the podcast, I am thinking a lot about what specific tactics or rhythms or routines we could put into place. I'd love us to do a conversation next year about what goals we should set as
Yeah.
dads. What about you next year? What are you thinking about going into this next year? Your kids will be what next year? How old? Turning 5?
Yeah, the girls and Bennett will turn 5 and 9 within a couple weeks, both January birthdays. Well, January and February 2nd.
Camden will be
And
how
then
old?
Cam, he'll be turning 12
What grade will he
later
go
in the
What
year.
grade's he in now?
He's in 5th.
So next year,
Yeah.
part of our podcast, he'll be going into middle school.
Yeah.
You'd be the first middle schooler on here. Have the first middle schooler.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking about for next year?
Well, I think you mentioned New Year's resolutions. I think the best resolutions come from you've taken inventory and you've realized there's a gap or there's an opportunity. Just to say, hey, look, I want to be this and I want to make that. Like, okay, fine. But like, what caused you to say that? So if you have identified a gap because you've taken inventory and then you go attack it, then that's obviously a meaningful thing. I'm a little anxious about this, but what I am going to do as I have a little bit of time is get some intentional time with the kids and ask them what I should be doing and could be doing better.
Mm.
I've never had that conversation with them.
What if the answer is like more candy? Like
Yeah,
you
then
should be giving us more candy.
I might have to like pull a little bit more out of them, especially with my oldest, my boys, both of them at the ages they are. I think the girls will say more candy. Actually, what they'll probably say is more daddy and twinny time, which is what we call it, which is kind of sad too if they say that, but they just want more no matter what. But no, I think do an inventory with the kids, like from their minds, whether I like it or not, and not be defensive. Do it at work. I ask people who work for me all the time, hey man, how can I help you? What could I be doing better? But I need to take inventory, not just with them, but with Brittany too, just to make sure that then that kind of shifts my goals in this area shouldn't be my goals. They should be what my family's telling me. I need to.
Have we talked about on here the questions that our friend Larry Gray's asked his kids?
Yes, but I don't know
Just
when. But
we may have hit it this year, but it goes to the question you're asking. But I love the way he frames it, and he's got older kids than we have. But Larry asked his kids 2 questions. Number 1, what do you need more from me? And number 2, what do you need less from me?
Mm-hmm.
I think our default is always more. Yeah. What do they need more? But maybe they say like, I need you to be less on my case about this, or I need you to be less focused on this area. So that's a good question to ask as we look to next year. Is there anything that's burning on your mind? Like, this is a topic we've got to cover in 2025.
Ooh, nothing. I think I love your idea of, goal setting. I think what would be great is for you and I to talk a little bit more about some tactical things, right? We've talked about some really big ideas that I think are timeless, that I think are going to be important. We'll probably hit on more of them or go into more detail on some of the things we've talked about. We're not establishing a new way to parent, or we're talking about, I think, some timeless things, but I think the more we can continue to have some tactical examples of, maybe some suggestions for one another and the listeners on how to actually practically do the things is where my head's at.
Yeah, I just want to encourage people. Our Instagram is Legacy Makers Dads.
Yep.
Tons and tons of followers.
Yeah, I think we're at like 107.
So, but I want to encourage people to go there and drop us like, hey, here's a topic I think you should cover.
Yep.
If you could send us that, or if you got some ideas or advice, we'd love to have it and be able to share it next year.
Yeah, you want me to wear a collared shirt and not be, or Kevin or perhaps not be so formal?
Yes, that's right. As long as you keep wearing the trendy glasses, I think we're going to be in good shape. Mr. Relevant right here. Okay, so it's been an amazing year. I feel like we've hit some big topics. And I think more than anything, when you recorded the intro that we play before every episode, you say this line that we are 4 dads. Can you just remind people again, like, why do we do this and what do we hope for them?
Man, I'm rooting for dads. You're rooting for dads.
Yeah. We're not in competition with each other.
We're not in competition with each other. We are rooting for each other. You and I are not getting paid for this. We have no vision to make this an enterprise. I don't need a pat on the back or a gold star. Neither do you. I get better from talking to you about these things and hearing comments from people. The few listeners that we do have just thank us for having this conversation. Like, that to me is the most important thing. But we're 4 dads. I want dads to win. I want them to know they matter. I want them to know that they're making a huge difference in their families, which in turn makes difference in communities. And, you started, I think it was the first episode, Kev, you talked about ripples and that amazing story. What we do matters. It may not feel like it all the time, but it matters. And if you do it consistently, it's a huge impact.
Yeah, like this. There's this idea that when dads get better, that everybody wins. Like, marriages are better, our kids are better, our communities are better, our churches are better. Like, if we will get better as dads. And so I love the heart for that. And I think that's what we want to keep doing next year, is encouraging dads, hopefully equipping dads. And probably the third thing is us challenging ourselves, because the number one thing I get out of this podcast is increased accountability to try to be more intentional.
It's been a great first year. Look forward to 2025. Everybody have a wonderful holiday season. Go Dads.
Go Dads.
Thanks for listening to Legacy Makers with Kevin Scott and Eric Blumenthal. Make sure you download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. All rights reserved.